And we worry about how it might look to other people if we don't have those things. And I don't mean that every minute of my life is filled up with worry about what other people think. I feel like I feel I feel like I'm I feel like I am free of that. See how often we use the word feelings? I laugh because my husband even said one time, I don't have any feelings. I'm a robot. I was like, no, you're not. You're not a robot. You do feel that. Hurt your feelings. Let's deal with it. But we're so consumed with self, feelings. We use it in everyday vocabulary like I just did. I don't feel like this. I don't feel like that. Or our feelings get hurt. Real life choices, major life choices, big decisions that are created or decided or made in our feelings are what lead us into temporary dissatisfaction. Maybe for a little bit of time we're satisfied, but we continue, I said that wrong, lead to temporary satisfaction. I'm sorry about that. Let me say that again. Real life choices, the big choices that we make for our life, school, having children, where we're going to go, what path we're going to take, what we're going to do, and how it affects our marriage, our friendships, our relationships with other people. Those decisions that are made out of our feelings, from a feeling, rather than us as believers looking to God and seeing what does He want for our life, it creates total chaos, and it only leads to temporary satisfaction or temporary pleasure, right? I cringe now, and it's cringeworthy to me, and it's nauseating that at some point pornography might have been a temporary satisfaction only for a moment, and then as soon as it's done, you feel guilty. But after a while, you justify it again because you feel. So we try to, with everything in life, choose what we feel good about, what makes us feel happy. I mentioned in the post that I shared that we coined these phrases like, you go girl, she believed that she could and so she did. You deserve this. You deserve this. We deserve this. We can do this. Take care of you. No one else is going to take care of you. I'm finding myself. I hate that one. I'm finding myself. Let me go find myself. There's nothing wrong with pausing everything. There's nothing wrong with stopping something. There's nothing wrong with letting go of things. But as believers, those callings should come from direction from God, should come from a relationship with God, not us just deciding that we feel like this or we feel like that. Feeling is really what leads us into having to justify things that are sinful or wrong or bad for us. It may not be some sin. It may not be a huge struggle. It may be something smaller that we're just sort of justifying that doesn't even really need to be there, or maybe it's a little bit selfish. I'll give you an example of stuff that's not sinful but selfish. I mentioned earlier in the video, I mentioned earlier while recording, I once was doing so many things at one time, right after my daughter was born, my firstborn, when I was having strokes. I mentioned that already. More recently, I realized that I was actually doing that again, the same exact thing, doing it all over again. I was working towards a group fitness instructor license. I was studying to get my real estate license. I work part-time in my salon every weekend. I'm teaching fitness classes on Fridays. I'm homeschooling my oldest daughter. I am in the middle of applying for grad school. I'm about to serve in the Awanas program at my church in order that my daughter can go to this specific area in 5K. I need to be there with her, and the Lord wants me to serve. And that's part of the things. It sounds probably crazy. I have always multitasked, but all of those things together was actually too much, and it was taking away from my time with my kids. When I finally realized what I was doing, and I was like, I'm doing it again. And when I finally told my husband, that's what I meant earlier when he was like, thank God I've been praying for you. Thank God. We don't need you to do all of these things. Group fitness instructor license is not a bad thing. I have always been on some kind of a platform, or my driving motivation has always been loving people. It's something God has given me, a love for people. I want to help them. I want to serve them. But if I choose my own path and try to figure out how it's going to work out, like I'm already teaching fitness, so in my brain I was like, okay, I feel like group fitness instructor license will go great with fitness. But at the same time, I was already studying for my real estate license because we own some properties and we have some rental properties. And it was just a direction that I felt I was supposed to go. It was something I was excited about. But again, too many decisions made out of feeling, even if they're not sinful, even if it's not an addiction. If it's the driving force based on how we feel, or feeling that it will financially make us, put us in a better position, because I've admitted to you guys before, we have struggled so deeply financially, over $100,000 in debt, where we almost couldn't buy diapers. We've had lots of people bless us, so I'm not complaining about that. But we struggled so desperately, all with God never abandoning us, that I often think of multiple things to make things work at one time. I don't want my husband to have to work 3 jobs. I don't want. Do you catch that? We want things. There's nothing wrong with having desires. God is the one that created us to have these desires, and He understands how our brain and our heart works. He understands communication, which is why He wants communication with us, which is why He created a way for us to have that communication when He sent His Son. When Jesus chose us on the cross, He made that way for us to connect. But you can see how in our feeling, or in our wants and our desires, we can do too many things at one time. So I was starting to feel crazy, and God wanted me to let a bunch of it go. And the freedom in doing that, the freedom of letting go, the freedom of choosing freedom over feeling is incredible. I am suddenly not doing a whole bunch of things. And I didn't even mention the fact that, I started this podcast, and this might be the best thing that I'm doing of all the things I'm doing. So maybe you feel like you want to start a business, or you feel like it's time to start a family or start a new relationship, or you feel like you want to write a book, or you feel like you want to travel. I almost always want to travel. My husband and I love to go on vacations. There's more travels that we really would like to do that we've never done. Maybe you feel like planting a garden, or you feel like starting a ministry, or you feel like, maybe you feel all those things. The most important thing to do as a believer, I'm finding, is to give it all to God and seek Him and ask Him, what do you want for me? And I'm so grateful that my husband and I are actually on the same page at the same time, and that we both realized we have wasted so much time trying to make things work in a planet that's not our permanent home, in this world where it's not our permanent life. I'm so grateful that we're teaching our kids about Jesus. I'm so grateful that we're realizing at the same time that we haven't been, it doesn't mean we didn't believe in God. It doesn't mean that we're bad people. We've done a lot for people. We've given people money when we didn't have money ourselves. We're not terrible people, but apart from Jesus Christ as a believer, we are not the same type of value. We're not on the same level. Our identity is gone. As a believer, apart from Christ, we can't waste more time. We need to choose eternity. We need to ask God, what do you want for my life? I'll let you take control. You want me to stay in a mobile home for 5 years? Awesome. We're going to be okay. You want me to live with chronic pain? Give me the grace. Help me to accept it. Doesn't mean I don't do anything to help take away the pain, but I'm trying to change my mindset and not just function in feeling and make decisions in feeling and choose what I think I have to have for my life based on feeling.